Why Australia's economy is doing surprisingly badly. Wondering why a country that is known for having stable economies is now facing strange economic problems. Why is Australia's economy going downhill right now? How did it go from being growing to having big problems? We'll go into great detail in this video about the things that are making Australia's economy so bad and what this means for the country's future. Australia, which is frequently considered to have one of the most wealthy economies in the world, is currently experiencing a slump in its economy, which has caused eyebrows to be raised all around the world. Despite the fact that Australia is well known for its consistent economic growth, high level of living, and abundant natural resource wealth, the country's recent economic performance has been more than a little disappointing. This video investigates the causes that are contributing to Australia's economic difficulties, investigates the broader ramifications of those economic difficulties, and considers prospective avenues for recovery. An overview of the competitive environment in Australia's economy. The economy of Australia has historically been characterized by its durability and expansion. This has been driven by a mix of factors, including a robust services sector, a thriving mining industry, and favorable trade links, notably with Asia. On the other hand, recent economic data have demonstrated a slowdown in growth, an increase in the rate of unemployment, and an increase in the pressures of inflation. In order to have an understanding of the reasons behind the underperformance of the Australian economy, it is necessary to investigate the fundamental causes and the circumstances in which they take place. Most important contributing factors to Australia's economic decline. Uncertainty in the global economy. In recent years, the global economic climate has been characterized by volatility, which has had an impact on the economic performance of Australia. Considering that Australia is so dependent on exports, the trade tensions that have arisen between major economies, particularly the United States and China, have had a direct impact on the country. The commercial relationship between Australia and China, which is its most important trading partner, has been disrupted as a result of geopolitical tensions and changes in trade policy. This unpredictability has resulted in a decrease in demand for Australian exports, which has had an effect on growth. Declining commodity prices. The mining industry in Australia has been buoying the country's economy for a long time, and it is a big contribution to the country's gross domestic product. On the other hand, this industry has been impacted by shifts in the prices of commodities around the world. The decrease in pricing of essential exports like coal and iron ore has resulted in a significant decrease in revenue generated from these essential resources. In spite of the fact that the mining industry continues to be significant, diminished commodity prices have led to a reduction in the amount of economic activity and investment in this sector. The housing market in Australia has been experiencing a boom over the past 2 decades, with property values skyrocketing and construction of homes booming. However, the housing market is currently experiencing a weakness. On the other hand, recent patterns suggest that the housing market is beginning to slow down. Increases in interest rates, stricter lending rules, and affordability concerns have all contributed to a halt in the growth of property prices and a reduction in the amount of activity in the housing market. A ripple effect has been caused by this cooling effect, which has had an influence on allied industries such as retail and construction. Australia has one of the highest levels of household debt in the world, making it one of the countries with the highest levels of household debt. In the past, soaring housing prices and easy lending conditions have been the primary factors that have contributed to this huge debt burden. However, as a result of rising interest rates and the unpredictability of the economy, it has become increasingly difficult for households to service this debt. When debt levels are high, it can limit consumer spending and have an effect on the overall growth of the economy. Weak productivity growth. The rate of productivity growth in Australia has been relatively slow, which has had an effect on the country's prospects for long-term economic growth. There are a number of factors that lead to poor productivity performance, including a lack of innovation, infrastructure that is getting on in years, and inefficiencies in some industries. Productivity is essential for maintaining economic growth and improving living standards, yet the stagnation of productivity offers concerns for the economic prospects of Australia. Ambiguity in political and policy matters. Political instability and ambiguity regarding policy decisions can have an effect on economic confidence and investment. Recent political events, such as upheavals in leadership and policy, have contributed to the creation of an atmosphere that is fraught with uncertainty. It is possible that investors and firms would delay or reduce their investments due to concerns about the direction of policy, which will have an impact on economic growth. The epidemic caused by COVID-19 has had a significant influence on economies all across the world, especially the economy of Australia. Economic activity has been impacted as a result of lockdowns, travel restrictions, and interruptions to global supply systems, respectively. The economic damage from the epidemic. which included interruptions to the tourism and education sectors, has led to economic issues in Australia despite the fact that the country was able to contain the spread of the virus reasonably efficiently. The economic struggles suffering in Australia and their wider implications. It's important to note that the current economic challenges that Australia is facing have wider-reaching ramifications for the country's social fabric and economic stability. Disparity in employment and income markets. Economic downturns can result in higher rates of unemployment and underemployment, which can then lead to an increase in income disparity. Workers with lower incomes are frequently employed in industries that are experiencing the most severe economic pressures, such as tourism and hospitality. As these industries continue to struggle, there may be an increase in the amount of pressure placed on social support programs and safety nets. Financial health of the government. Economic underperformance can put a burden on the finances of the government, particularly if revenue from taxes and resource exports decreases. A decrease in economic activity can have an effect on the revenue that the government receives, while an increase in spending on social support and economic stimulus measures may result in an increase in the levels of public debt. Policymakers face a difficulty when they attempt to maintain fiscal health while still providing support for economic recovery. Confidence of investors. Uncertainty and instability in the economy can have an effect on investor confidence, which in turn can have an effect on the amount of capital that is invested in investment in the country. It is possible that Australia's economic performance and perceived stability of the country will have an effect on the country's ability to attract and keep international investment. Keeping the confidence of investors over an extended period of time is essential for maintaining economic growth and development. Social and economic inequities. Difficulties in the economy can worsen social and economic inequities, which in turn affect disadvantaged populations in a disproportionate manner. There is a possibility that rural and regional communities, which may be strongly dependent on industries that are impacted by economic downturns, could have more difficulties in comparison to urban centers. For the purpose of ensuring that the economic recovery is equal, it is essential to address these imbalances. Methods for restoring the economy to health. There are a number of tactics and policies that Australia might take into consideration in order to handle its economic issues and encourage growth. Diversification of the economy, reducing reliance on particular industries such as mining and real estate, and encouraging diversification are two ways that can assist in the development of an economy that is significantly more resilient. Creating new chances for growth and reducing sensitivity to swings in commodity prices can be accomplished through investments in developing industries, technological advancements, and innovative ideas. Infrastructure investment. Investing in projects that relate to infrastructure has the potential to boost economic activity and increase productivity. Building new infrastructure has the potential to generate employment opportunities, improve connectivity, and foster sustained economic expansion. When infrastructure investment is prioritized, it has the potential to generate positive benefits that ripple through the economy and affect many other sectors. Restructuring the housing and credit markets. Addressing problems in the housing market and managing household debt can contribute to the stabilization of economic conditions. A healthy housing market and a reduction in the amount of financial stress that households experience can be achieved through the implementation of policies that aim to improve the affordability of housing, regulate credit conditions, and support responsible lending practices. Enhancing productivity and innovation. Fostering innovation and enhancing productivity through investments in education, research and development, and technology can generate long-term economic growth. In order to improve Australia's economic potential and competitiveness, it is possible to create an atmosphere that encourages and facilitates technological innovation and entrepreneurial endeavors. When it comes to mitigating the effects of global economic uncertainties, expanding and diversifying trade links can be of great assistance. However, strengthening global trade relationships is the fifth step. This can help minimize Australia's reliance on certain trading partners and increase the country's export potential. Building stronger trade partnerships and exploring new markets are two ways to do this. Addressing social and economic imbalances. The implementation of policies that address social and economic imbalances can make it possible to encourage inclusive growth and recovery. Support that is specifically directed towards underprivileged communities and areas can help to ensure that the advantages of economic recovery are distributed more evenly and contribute to the creation of a society that is more equal. The current economic troubles that Australia is experiencing are the result of a highly complex interaction between domestic, international, and industry-specific variables. Despite the fact that the nation has been confronted with severe economic difficulties, it nevertheless contains substantial strengths and prospects for recovery. It will be essential for Australia's path to recovery and sustainable economic growth that the fundamental reasons of economic underperformance be addressed, investments be made in important sectors, and effective policies be put into place. In the years to come, the economy of Australia will be put to the test in terms of its resilience and adaptability. The country's capacity to negotiate these obstacles while simultaneously grasping new possibilities will define the trajectory of its economy in the years to come. It is possible for Australia to strive towards overcoming its current economic challenges and achieving long-term prosperity if it places a strong emphasis on diversification, innovation, and inclusive growth. If you're interested in more in-depth analyses of global economic trends and want to stay informed about key financial developments, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.